Hello, good morning. Welcome back. Now, today we will look into chapter 4, text. Text is one of the elements of multimedia, and it is that regular element being used. Most of the projects, most of the time, text is usually included. When designing a multimedia product, basically text for headings especially, you need to design an attractive, good-looking text so that you could get a great-looking headline for the product itself. So yeah, text design is important or urgent at that part. Okay, now let's dive into the chapter, shall we? There are four typeface categories. Number one, serif. Number two, sans serif. Number three, script. And number four, symbol. We start with serif. Serifs are the decorative parts of each character. The details guide the eye along, which is why serif typefaces are best to be used as body text. Usually when we write long paragraphs in Microsoft Words, we will be using Times New Roman, correct? Times New Roman is this typeface called serif. Next is sans serif. Sans serif typefaces don't have these decorative details. This makes the type easier to read at a glance, which is why these typefaces should be used for heading. And an example of a sans serif typeface is Arial. Arial typeface is more modern, which makes it easier to be read even though at a very small size. The maximum is 8 points. Next is script. Script typefaces appear to have been written by hand with calligraphy pen or brush. When using this typeface, it is advised not to use all in caps or uppercase. You will find this type of typeface usually in most wedding cards. The last typeface is the symbol typeface. The typeface consists of symbols rather than normal text characters. When you design text in Adobe Photoshop, there are a few text terminologies that you should understand, such as bold, italic, underline, point size, cases, leading, alignment, kerning, and weight. When you use Microsoft Words, you type in text. This type of text is called editable text because you can edit it. Now, another example of an editable text is when a designer using Adobe Photoshop software to do text design. So after the design, usually the designer will save it as in the Photoshop format, PSD. What happened is that the designer still can edit the text content, the format, and the design totally, yes. When it comes to printing, now here's the problem. If the printing device is somewhere else, it's another computer. So what happened is that the design might not turn up as planned, as maybe the settings or the fonts are not in that particular machine. So yeah, that is the disadvantage of editable text type as compared to PDF. Besides that, text can be presented also in a PDF format, where to see the text in this format, you have to install Adobe Acrobat Reader. So when after you install this software, then you can read the text content. When you're doing design, for an example, an A3 poster design. So what is in that poster design is that you will design text as well. So at the end of the design, you might want to think of a format where you will be using it to save your file. Now, I recommend to you to save it in PDF. Why PDF? When you design your text, what you will be doing is that you will set your font size, your color, and then after that the point size and all of the other things that needed to finish off the text design. So yeah, that is when you are doing design. Okay, now so then you save it as PDF. Now so when you go to printing, you are gonna make it an A3 size printed output. So what you will be seeing is that your artwork is of what you have designed. So there's no change in font color, there's no change in um, fonts or sizes. The format is of what you have set earlier. Now that's the goodness of using PDF. Text could also be presented in a bitmap image. Bitmap texts are uneditable text. It is already a graphic, it is uneditable. So when you're doing design and then you finalize it as a JPEG image, for example, then it's fixed. That's it. When you go for printing, there's no change. Now that's the best part about bitmap text. The problem with bitmap text is that when you blow up the image, definitely the image will degrade in terms of quality and the image might be blurry. So that is the normal feature of any JPEG images, and that includes bitmap text. How do you get text content for your project? Well, it could be you typing it yourself. Okay, that's one way to get text content. Number two is by reusing text materials from articles or maybe from websites, for example. Now that's another way of getting text content. And finally is by user input, maybe from a form or from a survey that you have been doing. When you do text design, these are the common considerations that you need to think of. Number one is the font, definitely. What is the typeface that you want to use so that it is suitable for your project? Number two, the color of the font. Number three, the point size. Number four, the weight. And finally, the spacing. These are all the considerations that you need to look into so that you could get the suitable text for your content. Okay, that's all for chapter 4. I'll see you in chapter 5. Bye.